Hello guys, this is Adris here, and in this video I'm going to explain object-oriented programming in JavaScript. So we will start with object literal. So here I'm gonna go and copy paste an object which is a literal object. Okay, so this is just an object named car, and which has some properties and one method getInfo. So say if we want to create another car, what we can do is basically create a copy of this. Okay, we can just copy and paste it and name it car2, and then we can just change the values here. So maybe 4 and focus and just maybe 13 or 16, whatever. So next, if we do car1, then get info, and I'm gonna go and copy paste it down, sorry, and change it to car2. And if I save it and run it, that's because we have not car1 is supposed to be car. So run it. So it's gonna print out the information about the cars to the console. Okay, so this is fine. This code is completely okay to write, and the problem here is the say if we have to create maybe 10, 20 or maybe 100 cars, then we would have to repeat or copy paste our code a lot of times, which is not very good practice. So what could be the better way? So this is where object-oriented programming comes in. Okay, so now I'm gonna get rid of one of these car, and I'll keep just one for my reference. And now we're going to create a constructor function. Okay, the way we create constructor function is with constructor, and then we will name our function. I'm gonna name in car in my case, and then we will pass our arguments. Okay, so make model, maybe just with model, and then here, and as this function is going to create an object, we would have to do this dot make, and we will set it to this make variable which we are passing in. Okay, and we will do the same for the remaining as well. So model is going to be model, this should be semicolons, and here, and we're going to set it to here. And I also want to do this, probably I'll name it print info instead of get info. Okay, so print info, and this should be this print info, not print info only. Okay, so this print info, and this is going to be a function. Okay, and all we want to do is console log, so I'll just copy paste it. So, and then we just get rid of this object literal from here. Actually, and now as we have this constructor function called car, we can create as many as object from this constructor, as many we want. Okay, so say we want to create an Audi, and then the way JavaScript works and knows how it is not a normal function, it is a constructor function, we need to use a keyword new. Okay, so as soon as we use new keyword before invoking our function, JavaScript would know it is not a normal function, it is a constructor function. Okay, so we will have to pass our values here. So I'm creating Audi, so I'll pass Audi for make, and then model maybe A7, and then here I'm gonna pass 2019. And as soon as I save this and run this, this is going to create an empty object, and then it would set this values to that object. Okay, which would be this newly created object. Alright, so if I save it, and let me just console log it and show it to you guys. So what do I mean by this? So if I console log od, this is what it creates. Okay, it's creating a new object with these values. Okay, and also it has this function which we are passing it here. Okay, so now this means we can create as many as cars we want. Say we want to change it to Ford. Okay, and then change this to maybe Focus. Then alright, so now if I do Audi dot print info, okay, and the same for Ford, then print info, it's gonna work totally fine. Alright, so this is the beauty of constructor function. However, we still have a slight issue here, and that is whenever we are running this or creating an instance from this car constructor. Okay, so we are basically creating everything whatever is in this constructor function. So we have this method sitting on this car constructor, which is getting created for each instance, which is again not a good practice. Okay, so with any constructor, all of these constructors, we have something called prototype. Okay, so what we basically can do, I'll just cut it from here to move it up here. So what we can do, basically put these any method or property onto the prototype. Alright, so the way we do it, basically we will do our constructor, what in our case is car, and then we will do prototype. Okay, so prototype, and then the name of our method or property. Okay, so in our case is print info, which is going to be a function. Alright, so I'll just cut it from here and put on our prototype, and now we can remove it from our constructor. Okay, so if I save it, it is still going to work fine. Why is it giving undefined OD? This is dash because for some reason, sorry guys. Okay, alright, now it is working fine. So because I had a typo here, anyways, so now even though this function, which is print info, is not inside in this car constructor, as long as it is sitting on this prototype, we have access through a property when we create an object. Let me actually, I'll get rid of this and console log this time. Let me forward and see when we create this object, and if I open it up, it also puts a property on it, underscore underscore proto underscore underscore. It is also known as Thunder Proto, and this Thunder Proto would have this print info, okay, which is coming from this prototype. Alright, I hope this is making sense. So each and every object created by this constructor function, okay, would have access to this prototype, okay, which is car.prototype through this property underscore underscore proto underscore underscore. Okay, so this is how it works. So we can put properties and methods on that prototype. Okay, so next I want to talk about multiple constructors. Okay, so what do I mean by this? Basically, say if we want to create another constructor for maybe motorbike, which is going to have similar things like make, model and year, and instead of creating a fresh new constructor, we can use car and we can borrow stuff from car instead. Okay, so let's just do that. So I'm gonna go and put my comment here instead, and now we're gonna go and create a new function, and this function is going to be motorbike. And by the way, you may have noticed I'm starting my functions, constructor functions name with capital letter, so this is just a good practice, by the way. Okay, and then we will do make model, and then okay, and then in here, instead of doing this dot make, this dot model, this dot year, and then setting this variable to those, what we can do is do car, and then on car we can do call, okay, which is JavaScript method, and we can pass this as a first argument, which would be a newly created object from this motorbike. Okay, and then we can pass over other arguments like make, model, and year. Alright, and now if I go down here, and let's just create maybe Honda, and then we will create with motorbike this time, and we will pass our values, and maybe rebel, and here we will just pass 2019. Alright, so if I console log this this time, this will create an object, but the issue here is if I go to our underscore proto, we wouldn't have this print info method, even though if I just do Honda dot print info, it's gonna give us an error. Okay, and because it's gonna say there's no such thing. Alright, so this is called, how do we do this, and that is called prototypal inheritance. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do here. So the way we do prototypal inheritance is basically we need to do motorbike dot prototype, and we need to set it to we need to use a method from JavaScript. Sorry, it's called object dot create, and then we have to pass first argument as a prototype, which is going to be car dot prototype. Okay, and also we want to reset the constructor for this object. Okay, so basically I will show you, actually let me just show you now. If we save it, and if we go and see our prototype, sorry, underscore proto, then we would have this print info, and if we do Honda dot print info, it should work. Okay, so it's gonna work fine. So this is working fine. Alright, however, this Thunder Proto has a constructor. Okay, and this constructor is basically whatever is constructing this object. Okay, so the constructor for this object, okay, whatever we are creating this object. And if we have a look here, it says car instead of motorbike, so we need to reset it to car instead of sorry, reset it to a motorbike instead of car. Okay, so the way we do this is we do motorbike dot prototype and dot constructor, I can't really spell it. Alright, and then we will do motorbike. Okay, and now if I save it and have a look, and now the constructor is motorbike. Okay, and this is just resetting the constructor. Okay, so that's prototypal inheritance pretty much. Alright, and next I want to show you all of these tricks with the classes. However, I will create a new file for that, just because this file is getting too messy, so I'm gonna pause the video and create a new file. Alright, so classes in JavaScript are basically under the hood they are still constructor function. They are just syntactic sugar for creating this prototypal or object-oriented programming with the constructors. Okay, so let me just show you actually here. So to make classes, we need to use a keyword class. Okay, so say instead of creating this constructor function car, we need to create a class car. Okay, so we start with word class, okay, and then we will do car. Alright, so and the first thing we want to do is basically create a constructor. Okay, constructor here, and then it is going to be exactly the same as this constructor. Okay, so I'm just gonna go and copy this and paste it in front of this constructor word. Okay, so make sure you have this constructor word, otherwise it's not gonna work. Alright, so and the other thing, if we want to put methods on our class, we can do that. So say our print info method. Alright, so that's going to be a method, and I'll just go and copy paste it. I'm just trying to save a little bit of time here, guys. Okay, and then if I save this, and if we do say if we create, so as I said, it is exactly the same thing. So under the hood we are doing exactly the same thing. The only difference here with the classes is we are starting with the class keyword. Okay, and then we are using a constructor keyword here inside the class, and then we are using our constructor. Alright, and with the method we can just put on in the class. Alright, and they get put on prototype, by the way. So what do I mean by that? So let me just console log maybe Audi here, and we instantiate exactly the same way we did with the constructor. Okay, we just use new keyword and then the class name. Okay, and then we will pass the values for our argument. Alright, so if I save this, now see we have this car object, and if we go to underscore proto, and it has this print info. Alright, so this print info is sitting on prototype basically. Okay, so alright, so next we want to do inheritance with classes. So the way we do basically, say if we want to create a motorbike. Okay, so just bring it up, and here I'm gonna go and create a class, and then this class is going to be motor bike, and we're going to use a keyword called extends. Okay, and then we will extend car class. Okay, and then in this class we have to, instead of this, let me just actually copy this. Alright, so instead of this having this whole constructor, we can get rid of this. Alright, and here we can use another keyword called super. Alright, and whatever we want to use from parent class we have to pass here. Okay, so we will just do model and then year. Okay, so exactly the same way. So two things, extends keyword and then super. Okay, to have access to those variables. Okay, and now I'm gonna go and actually copy this from the other file and paste it here, and if I save it, and then let me just get rid of this, actually just move it a little bit up so we can see it maybe better. Alright, so if I just console log now, and now we have that motorbike, and this time we wouldn't have to worry about constructor because it's gonna do the magic for us. Okay, so the constructor is motorbike. Alright, so we can test it, of course. So if we do and then it was print info. It should print out the information about the motorbike. Okay, so this is inheritance with classes, and with classes we have something a static method. Alright, so how it works basically, so let me just show you quickly. So say if we wanna put a method here, we'll a static method. Okay, so we'll start with keyword static, and then maybe is car, I don't know, and then we just pass x, and it returns x dot constructor is it this. Okay, and if I save this, and the way it works basically, it has to be on the class, so like class, real class. Okay, so the car, and then we wanna see is car, and if we just as we have this Audi. Okay, so if we just pass Audi, and because it is going to return true or false, we can just store into a variable, maybe result. Okay, and then we can just console log result. Okay, so just because Audi is car, created by car, so it is gonna return true. Alright, so if I pass here, if I pass Honda, it's gonna result false. Okay, so it's gonna result false. So this is static method, it can be handy too. So this is all what we can do with classes. So actually that's pretty much it. That's all object oriented programming in JavaScript is. Alright, and I hope you guys have learned something. And by the way, I will put this code into description if you like to have it, just in case. So this is all you need to know pretty much. It's not as complicated as people think. So yes, if you have learned something, please do like the video and remember to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.